So we're finishing week 13. We're heading into week 12. Let's go over first statistics. Where's your body weight? Where's your body fat percentage? If you've taken that at this point. So let's start there.
So weighing in at 169 from 179 when we started there.
Okay. And you were down to before, after the first 2 weeks.
Last week was 172.
172, right. Okay, and have you done a body fat percentage yet, or that comes the week following?
I did it using the handheld device.
The bioelectrical impedance.
Showing about 12%.
12%, okay. Which was, you were up to 14 in the previous weeks, 14.5, 14.7,
yes.
Whatever it was, yeah. Okay, so, how do you feel as though the changes, I mean, we have you, obviously we got the side-by-side video shots, you can see the changes. How do you feel about the changes you saw in that
feels
time?
good. It's, I can see the changes weekly.
Right.
See it tightening up, kind of leaning out a little more, starting to see more definition, and really trying to hold on to that size still. Right. As much as possible, stay full looking while leaning out. So feeling pretty good about it so far. Okay.
What I noticed the biggest change was, especially across your upper back, definitely through your upper abdomen. The lower ones haven't come in quite yet, but definitely through the upper abdomen, you're starting to see the fat reduce. You notice it in certain poses, the front double bicep, you notice it.
Yeah,
and your lat spreads. Even though you're still having some trouble with the mechanics of it, you can definitely see, as the waistline comes in, the pose just looks, it looks better. Your legs are, they're still holding on a little bit, but that'll come in time. Generally speaking, we'll see it come from the upper abs, the arms first, and then eventually to the legs and lower belly region. So, okay, so that covers all the statistics. Let's talk about the training. Any updates in that in terms of what you're able to do, what you're trying to do, and what you're able to do?
So the training, as far as exercises, reps, sets, that stuff's all stay the same.
The breakdown is exactly the same.
Breakdown's still the same. What we're trying to do right now is just continue to push that same weight for as long as possible to continue to save muscle mass.
Right.
Just trying to stay as close as I can to the numbers I've been hitting.
So maintenance of strength is what you're going for.
Is what I'm going for. So if I slack on a rep or two towards the end, we're looking for that right now.
So sacrifice a little bit of volume over the actual weight right now.
Over the actual weight, correct.
And how do you feel? You feel like you've been able to do that, or do you feel like you've weakened a little bit?
I think for the most part, I think it's weakening up.
Right.
It's starting to get tougher to kind of push that same weight for that same reps. Starting to feel like I'm got to give a little extra at those last one or two in there. It is sort of dying out on me, my strength, a little earlier.
I mean, the other thing that does need to be noted too is that you were at peak strength before going into this.
Absolutely.
You're definitely your heaviest training, so you're going from the pinnacle right into a lean down phase with very little transition period. I think that's to be expected. Let's talk about the cardiovascular training. Has it still been pretty basic? Have you added any layers to it, or is it still 3 times a week? You were doing 3 to 4 times a week?
It was 4 times a week, yep. This past week was up, we were doing 5 times a week.
Okay.
Still 30 minutes, 75% of my target heart rate. And moving into week 12, heading into 6 days a week now.
Oh wow, 60. That's going to get kind of rough.
Another extra day.
And as for any dietary changes, I think you subtracted down to, instead of 40 grams of protein, you're down to 30 on your supplement meals. Is that correct?
I was at about 60 during my snacks for my shakes.
Okay.
2 scoops in between meal shakes and post workout. So now it's down to 1.5, about 45.
So down to 45.
About 2,000 calories now. It's dropped it again. We took out one of the oranges during the snack time, so it's now only post workout orange.
Okay.
All the shakes are now 1.5 scoops instead of 2 scoops.
And that's basically the 2 half scoops that you minus out plus the minus of the 1 fruit is what that 200 calories drop down was from.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other dietary changes? That's pretty much.
Diet, other than that, still staying the same. Still the 6 ounces for my meats during my meals. Trying to stay consistent. Getting a little hungry now.
Right.
As it starts to drop, but
But you're hanging in there with the 2,000 calories.
Taking in a gallon and a half of water a day, trying to stay full,
right.
Keep my stomach.
Which is a challenge as a personal trainer because you can be in the middle of a session and then all of a sudden you got to run to the bathroom and it's not too much fun. I've been there where you're flooding your body with water and it's a
Making
disaster.
a lot of pit stops.
Yeah, a lot. Like routinely in between clients, you're running into the bathroom and it's just it's not fun. As for the supplements, I believe everything is pretty
Supplements have all stayed the same. Still sticking to everything from last week.
Right.
All the same.
Very good. So basically what we're looking at over this last week now is basically just a small reduction in calories, a little bit of loss of strength if I was to summarize.
Yep.
But other than that, everything's pretty much on track and on target, and you're seeing the consistent results over the course of what's been now a total of 4 weeks, right?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Trying to let the diet and the cardio take their course. Try and maintain as much muscle mass as possible. Still lift for size. Keep that in, and I've been adding in a lot of posing now, trying to work on that as it being my first competition. It's a place where I'm definitely weak in, as you've seen.
Yeah, we were working.
So,
Dean was helping you work on your posing. The front lat spread which is one of the hardest poses to hit.
Yeah.
You've got some work to do on that one. But other than that, you're a pretty balanced body too. And we watched some of the INBF videos
from last year's.
Yeah, from last year's competition. You see a lot of good physiques, but like any other natural bodybuilding competition, you get guys that are strong in one area and weak in the others. You saw, one of the guys I saw had, his legs looked great. He had big quads, they were thick and they were separated, but his upper body looked like that of a guy who never even touched a weight in his entire life. And that's what you're going to see in a natural bodybuilding competition. Especially at the 155 class, you can see guys really strong in one area, probably weak in the other. You actually are pretty well balanced for a guy who will wind up being a 155er.
That's my hopes is to keep the symmetry there and not be too heavy in one area and
right, just
lighter in the others. Stay symmetrical. It's one of the judging criteria. So really trying to
symmetry is paramount. Symmetry and conditioning too.
Trying to get as hard as possible.
That's the one thing you can control.
Especially at that low weight class, you're not going to win by size. So
no one is. At 155, no one's going to win based on size. And in natural competition, only the few genetically gifted guys are going to, show up with a lot of size. And at a 155 class, you're going to have to be 5'3" to look thick. You're just not going to look, you're not going to look like Lee Priest.
And I'm not standing at 5'3". I am 5'8".
For the record,
it's not the tallest. I still got more than 5'3".
We put a tape measure to be 5'7.5". He's lying, folks. Okay, this was just a quick update that we wanted to do in between. I know the last video blog we did was a lot longer, just to kind of set the framework for what we're doing on. The weekly blog will probably be
shorter updates.
Yeah, shorter. Probably more updates like this. What we're going to do is we're going to include the posing. We'll show some of the videos with that. We'll interlace those into the video so you guys can see exactly where he's at and just watch him change as the weeks go on. And I think you're going to see a substantial difference week to week.
Absolutely.
Which is good too to actually watch this, because Corey preaches this to his clients all the time about consistency in nutrition and training, and your body will change and you will see the change occur. But you have to stick with the program.
You got to stick with it. You got to commit to what you're going for, and you got to stay dedicated. If you slack off, if you cheat meals and all that.
Yeah,
stuff,
you get clients all the time that say, well, I've been great on my diet, but then you talk to them and it's a whole other story once you start breaking it down, and it's just
it's consistency, it's dedication. You got to stay down to it. So far, no slips, nothing off the diet, staying dead on with all that, training hard, intensity.
And
that's that.
You've been spot on. How are you happy with the results you've seen thus far?
I am. I think it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing where it comes in too.
It will be interesting to see how you look as we expect you to get down to the 157 to 100. You got to be 155. You will be doing the lightweight, right? So the 155 range.
155 to 160.
It'd be interesting to see
there, so.
How the size holds on. Okay, so that should conclude week 13 and now heading into week 12, and we'll check back in with you guys next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.